What's up, guys? Welcome to it. This is Multi-Marketing, and we are sitting here with one of our featured authors in the Multi-Marketing Anthology by the name of Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana. Of course, I'm your host, the Director of Multi-Marketing, Noshad Khan. And here tonight, we're here to talk about the Multi-Marketing Anthology 2024. This book is available in both ebook and paperback on both Store and Amazon. Globally, you can get yourself a copy, physical or digital, whatever you prefer. Get yourself a copy today. But right now, we're going to be talking to one of the featured authors and poets, and well, I can call her a poet and a short story writer because she submitted both to be featured in this book right here, the Multi-Marketing Anthology. Her name is Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana. She joins us here this evening, and she's going to be speaking about it. Now, before I hand over the reins to her, I'd like to welcome you all. And the fun thing about this interview is this is the first time we've ever done an interview with this particular author, despite the fact that for the last 3 years straight, she's been featured in every single multi-marketing anthology without fail. And the funny part about that is her name, if you look on the contents page of any of the multi-marketing anthologies, including this year's one, after the foreword, her name is always the first one. It's always at the top. She's always the first author featured in the multi-marketing anthology. You could say it's because we put it in alphabetical order, but still, it's like a testament to the fact that every single year, 3 years in a row, she's been published in the anthology. But enough for me. Let's hear from the author herself. Aubrey, welcome to this interview. It's the very first time we've gotten to speak to you. It's the first time anyone in the multi-marketing universe has been able to see and hear from the author. So for those who don't know, just give a quick introduction of yourself. Tell everybody who exactly is Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana.
Hi everyone. I would say, since you already know my name, I'd say Aubrey is as a weird girl type of a person. I started writing at a young age. I just love life. I just love writing. And as Noshad has already mentioned, I have submitted poetry and short stories. I wouldn't say I'm a short story and a poetry writer. I'll just say I'm a writer because I'm working on a novel, although those ones are like a bit hard to work on. But I'm very excited about it. And hopefully next year I will put out the novel. Yeah, and I'll just put a start on me writing novels.
Okay, well, you said that you started writing at a very young age. So I think people want to know when and how exactly did you start writing?
I was always a lonely child. As an autistic person, I always wanted to be isolated. So for the most part, I would be lonely. My aunt was always at work. I was an only child. The only thing I had with me was a cat. So I just would tell random stories to a cat. And because I'm someone who fantasizes a lot, I would share those fantasies with the cat, or I would write on the walls, which is something I got in trouble for, and write on banana leaves. Very weird, I know, but I just started out as writing sentences, short sentences, and I just started there. I think that's where it was. But at that point, obviously, I was not aware that I was writing. I just thought it was just me trying to get myself busy. Yeah.
Wow, the reason I actually had a smile on my face when you were mentioning that, because many people don't know this, or maybe some already know this, but I also was an only child growing up. And I also did get in trouble for writing on the wall quite a few times. So that itch to write was always in me. So it's something I can actually relate to. So you've explained, okay, you've started writing at a young age, you used to tell stories to the cat. But when it comes to your stories and your poetry, what is your poetry and your story based on? I mean, particularly, I mean, let's look at your work in the anthology, not just this year, but every year, like I've said, you've been featured on. And just to give the viewers an idea of maybe they'll want to purchase not only this copy, but previous copies of the anthology, just to see what your writing's about. What makes you write? What makes you want to? What do you base your stories and your poems off of?
For the most part, I write about me and my experiences, but I just love writing about reality. So with most of my previous work, especially the works published in these anthologies from the first one up to this one. It's just basically about me. I write mostly about me, but then it's not real life stories for the most part, but it's something inspired by something that has happened in my life. I just write about that. And I think most of the time I'd like to put out my life out there as an autistic person, because a lot of people don't get that. And as a high functioning person, like in the story I wrote in this anthology, there's the copy of this inside my autistic life. It's basically about my life as an autistic person, how I deal with relationships, how I engage with people. That's what I love writing about. But recently, a lot of my work have transformed into being about love. I feel like I really love love. So I write mostly about love. I think the book that is gonna come out next year, it's gonna be mostly poetry about love, and it's strong, deep feelings about love. I don't know if I've experienced those myself, but yeah, I think a lot of people have in general.
Okay, so you say you write mostly about reality, real experiences that you maybe come across in your own life. So while that could translate to a lot of people, who do you feel your poetry and your short stories are aimed at? And what do you hope that people will gain or achieve from reading your poetry and your stories?
For the most part, I wish and hope that people would get an insight into my life. But then, on a global scale, I feel like people should just get an insight into how an autistic person views life. Because most of it is basically how I view life, how I view experiences. Like with the poem Rainy Days, it's just how I view rainy days, what they make me think about when it's raining. It's just like they're gonna look at life through my lens. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, well, we've already touched on the subject of readers that can experience more from you. You've mentioned that next year you're looking at putting out a novel, poetry about love and stuff like that. But I'm not sure where you're planning on publishing it with. But with your experience with multi-marketing, how has your experience been with multi-marketing, and how has your experience been that? Like, how did you find out about multi-marketing, first of all? Because I think a lot of people always ask us the question, where do you guys find your authors? And I'm like, different places, and you have your own unique story.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you find out about us at Multi-Marketing, and how has your experience been with us thus far?
I feel like it's a little type of a weird story. I was 19. I was at home, not a student. I was just at home doing nothing, and I got bored. I always knew about Snoopy, so I put out an offer there. But I was not really serious because I never thought they would reach out. It's like, I'm just a village girl. No one would reach out to me. No one would want to publish my stupid stuff. I would say stupid stuff. I know it's not, but in my head I was like, it's probably dumb. No one will take notice of it. I think I ignored my emails a lot, but then your publishing company had sent me an email to talk about the offer I put up on Snoopy, and I was not aware of that. And one day in an afternoon with load shedding, I get a call from you, and I was so shocked. I could not believe it. I felt like I was dreaming. And that is how I discovered multi-marketing publishing. And my experience with this publishing company, I would say it's excellence upon excellence. I don't have any complaints really. From the get-go, I did not understand anything. I was practically clueless. But me being clueless, I did not feel like I was really clueless, because everything was explained step by step of how things would go. Everything was just made easy for me, and I loved having that experience. Even though at first I could not afford the fees, I remember that's how we introduced the anthologies. At first, I could not afford the fees to go solo, but then I'm just happy how we got to be given an opportunity like that. And even at then, that I was not given up on because I did not have money to publish. They didn't say, we're giving up on you, that's it, bye, you wasted our time. That's not what they did. They gave me an opportunity to put out my work out there, and at first I never thought it could be possible, but here it is. And 3 anthologies later, I still want to be with them for the most part. Yeah.
Well, I actually have a little story to tell the audience is that you are one of a handful of poets and short story writers that actually spawned the idea of the multi-marketing anthology because we sat down in a meeting after having spoken to you, having spoken to another one of the famous poets who's also been featured in every anthology, Elia Mpata. I'm sure you know him very well. He's been in every single anthology. Also, Sifiso Katsi, the artist from Port Elizabeth, he's also featured in every single anthology as an artist. His artwork is actually on every single cover of the anthology. He's done the artwork for us. So yourself, Elias, Sifiso, and a few others, even Yonela Komoi from Cape Town, we sat down and we thought, okay, these authors are not able to afford the publishing on their own. But what if we put them all together? They can pay a little portion and they can still be published in a book and still get their work out there. And that's basically how the anthology came about. And it also was an idea for, there were authors who didn't have as much poetry to put together a full length book. So this was the perfect way for them to put a little bit of their poetry out that they had on hand and still be a part of the anthology. So that was how the idea came about. Now, you have been published, like I mentioned at the top of this interview. You've been published 3 times now. That is what we would call a hat trick. You've been published 3 consecutive times in 3 consecutive years in the anthology. How have people around you reacted to the fact that you are actually a published author?
I think people don't really expect, they never expect me to be published, not in a bad way, but it's that thing that maybe I'm too quiet about my work, or maybe they think it's not that serious. Because I've had some people say to me when I show them my books and they're like, oh, you're really serious at this thing. I feel like some people are shocked that I'm actually published. With others, they're really proud. It's like, it's a beautiful thing, especially people I grew up with. They really love seeing people they know climb the ladder in a way. So it's like very nice to hear people say congratulations and really mean it, because they've known me that I've always been one with the words, I would say. And then yeah, at home, it's I come from a village and my parents are very old. They don't really understand these things, but then I think they're also proud when they see a picture of me in the published books, and they're like, wow, this is it. Our daughter is a published author. They don't really know what it means in this modern world, but the fact that I have my name printed on paper, I think it makes them proud. Yeah, for the most part, I think they are proud. Others are just shocked, and others are just it's so unbelievable. I have never met a published author in my life. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
I can relate to that feeling as well. When I published my first book and I was in the newspaper for the first time, I had people from Facebook. Now, on Facebook, you have sometimes friends that you don't really talk to, but you know them somewhere along the way, like your primary school or your high school. A primary school friend who never speaks to me on Facebook out of the blue, now because I'm in the papers, starts messaging me like, we've been best bros for life. I'm like, bro, when I was in school, you never even talked to me. Now all of a sudden you want to know me. It's weird. But yeah, I know the feeling of, being published for the first time. People react in different ways. So we've said that you got published 3 times in the anthology. You do look at publishing more in the future, a novel, love poetries. But outside of publishing, what do you think the future holds for Aubrey? What do you want to achieve moving forward?
I'm an aspiring psychologist. Hopefully, I get to be a psychologist. I pray I get to be that. I think the future for me, I back in the past, maybe like 5 years ago, I would say I want to travel the world alone. I still want to do that, but then I want to be more settled when I do the traveling, because back then I had no hopes of being settled. But now, because of the career I'm trying to be into, I want to be more settled. I'm definitely never going to give up on writing. Writing is me. I am writing. I feel like there's no Aubrey without writing. So I'm just going to continue writing, and I hopefully get to be Dr. Tlomatsana someday. And a Dr. Tlomatsana who's going to be a psychologist and an author. I feel like they go hand in hand. Yeah. And maybe in future, I'll publish more stuff on psychological things because it's going to be my work. So since I write realistically, it's going to be more of that. I'm just going to incorporate that. So that is what the future holds for me. Yeah, I think so.
Well, I certainly can't wait to call you Dr. Tlomatsana and have a book in my hand that has Dr. Tlomatsana written on it. That will be so cool. So, you being a published author now, after so many years of thinking maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen, and now you officially are published, what advice would you give to other aspiring authors out there who are maybe skeptical or are unpublished and maybe don't know, if they'll get published or not? What advice can you now, as a published author, give to those authors?
I'd say believe in your work. You would be surprised of how people see your work. I feel like as writers, as artists, generally, when we view our work, we just see it as something ordinary. But then your work can be viewed as someone else by someone else as something unique. So I feel like just take that risk. Just do it once. Just give it a chance and see how it works out from there. And don't have high expectations, especially with friends and family. After publishing my work, I'm not being hard on everyone to, oh, you have to purchase my copy, you have to have my book, you guys are my friends or anything. People might not be interested in reading, and that's okay. Or people might not be interested in your type of work, and that's still okay. Even if those people are your friends and family members, what matters is out there are billions of people who are going to love your work. So just put it out there. You do yourself justice. I mean, it's gonna be sad to have you being an artist who does not publish their work. Yeah, I think the advice I'd give is that just give it a chance, take that one risk, and you never know, it might actually work out for the best. Nobody knows of the future. I didn't know I'd be here, but I'm here today, and I'm very proud of myself. I'm very proud of taking up on that opportunity, even though in a way I was scared, and people have trust issues. There are times where people feel like maybe I'm going to get scammed or anything, but just make sure you find a reliable company like Multi-Marketing. And yeah, when you see us here, it's real, they won't scam you.
Definitely. There's a lot of scammers out there. And like a previous interview we had with Heidi Hahn, who's also been featured in every anthology, she said that at first she thought I was a scam artist. And when she finally got published and she received her first copy, she realized, no, that this is legit. So, like I said, just be careful with the publishers that you want to associate yourself with. You never know what you could come across. But always proof. Heidi is proof, Elia is proof, Yanela is proof, the future of the artist is proof. We're not a scam, we are real, we are legit, we do publish authors. So for those authors out there or readers rather, I should say, who love your work, want to read more of your work, we know that they can purchase a copy of the anthology on Multi-Marketing, mmstore.co.za, as well as Amazon if they're not in South Africa. But for those who like your work, who want to find out more about the author, what do your social medias look like? Where can people find you online as the poet, Aubrey?
I would say it's unfortunate that I only have a Facebook account, and even on Facebook, I don't really do a lot of writing there. I usually just do writing on my WhatsApp, but I would like to venture more into writing on Facebook. But then again, trust issues. We have people who steal other people's work and never credit it. I mean, that would be horrible if I write something and it's authentic, it's mine, and somebody else shares it and they never credit me, and then it's going to look as if they are the ones who came up with it. That would be horrible. But then hopefully in future I get to share bits in there and get to just bring people into my writing space. But then for those people who have my WhatsApp, they are able to see my writing daily. I post on my status daily. Hopefully I get the enough courage to do that on Facebook as well, and so that people can see more of my work, not just what is published, because the published work is actually the younger me. When I look at it, I see growth from what I used to write to what I'm writing in now. And hopefully in future, I'm also going to improve even more. So yeah, right now, as of current, the only place they can contact me is on Facebook. And I will try to post more there because people have been telling me that we don't see much of your work. So I'm going to try and just going to take the risk that I'm telling people to take. Yeah.
Speaking of your work that has been published, for the last 3 years, you've had poems and you've had a short story in the anthology. And this year is no different. You've got 2 poems and a short story in the anthology. So, just to give people a taste of what kind of work and what poetry and what short stories you put out there, just read us any one of your poems that you have from your anthology. And yeah, so let people get a taste of what kind of work that you put out. Maybe they'll be interested and want to get a copy of the anthology to read more of it.
Okay, so this is Rainy Days. I wrote it on a rainy day, obviously. I don't know, I think I was bored, but here goes. Rainy days, are they the best? I think of those times we were still best friends. I think of those times you were hating, and I was hating with you internally. Seeing you down and bereaved tore me apart. I think of how confusing and how good it felt when you sent me those crazy texts, when you called me all sorts of sweet names. It was then that I realized that I loved you. I knew all along that I wanted to be more than friends. Rainy days are the best.
Lovely words, lovely words. You can actually get the feel that you were probably sitting by the window looking at the rain outside and you're writing this on a notepad. That's the kind of vibe I get when I listen to you read that poem. So before we wrap this interview up, do you have any concluding remarks, anything that you want to say to the viewers who are watching?
Um, I would really appreciate the support. And I think all the featured authors in here can really appreciate the support. As I always say to my friends and family and everyone else who knows me, that it's not really about the sales, it's about getting the work across. I mean, I get it. We live in a time where the economy is really tight and everything. But if you have money to spare and you would like to just be met with a variety of different artists, please get to purchase one of our copies or maybe all of them if you can. We would appreciate their support greatly. I know I would. Yeah, I guess that. And also stay tuned. More work is gonna come out. And this time around, I'm serious. I'm not just gonna say, I'm gonna write and not really write, but I'm actually writing. I'm actually compiling right now. So yeah, hopefully you get to see my work, but also we start here.
Well, guys, you heard it first. Stay tuned. There is a lot more coming from Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana. And to get a taste of what she brings to the table, get your hands on a copy of this Multi-Marketing Anthology 2024. It is out. It is brand spanking new. We've got about 20 authors in this one, and Aubrey is one of them. And you get a lot of authors, a lot of good short stories, poems. Everything you need is in this book. You can get it at mmstore.co.za. For the first time ever this year, it's going to be in both ebook and paperback. So you can actually get yourself a physical copy here in South Africa. And if you're living overseas, if you're watching this outside of South Africa, you can still get your hands on a physical copy by going to amazon.com, and a paperback copy will be coming your way. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us to watch this interview. We had originally planned this to be live on Facebook. Unfortunately, the network wasn't playing ball with us, but we still got this interview out to you guys. So I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out to watch this and enjoy this. Thank you to Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana for joining us this evening. We will see more of her work in multi-marketing. For myself, Nosha Khan, the Director of Multi-Marketing, and for Aubrey Mmakoma Tlomatsana. Thank you for watching. Till I see you again, we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.